Do you guys ever get that feeling when you're making a video and halfway through the video you're like, what am I doing? This video is gonna suck. That's how I felt when I was attempting to make a video about all of the Gunsmoke movies, and halfway through editing, I was like, I don't like this video. So I decided to just get rid of everything, clean slate. I decided to make the video. But since I didn't make the Gunsmoke video, I neglected to now say that the Dynasty video that I'm going to be making is going to be put off for a while because of the fact that I made the video about Soap, the show that parodies soap operas, and I thought it'd be a weird back-to-back if I immediately talked about a soap opera after talking about a show that parodies soap operas. Reminder that the OG Dynasty from 1981 was a soap opera, not the 2017 one, Reboot, that's a drama, but the one from the 80s was a soap opera. So instead, we're going to be making a video about Matlock and its reboot. The differences between Matlock and the Matlock reboot. To those of you who don't know the original Matlock, Matlock was an American mystery legal drama TV series created by Dean Hargrove and starring Andy Griffith as, oh my god, my hair's so big, as the role of criminal defense attorney Ben Matlock. The show, produced by Intermedia Entertainment Company, the first season only, the Fred Silverman Company, and Dean Hargrove Productions, called Strathmore Productions in the first 2 seasons, and Viacom Productions, originally aired from March 3rd, 1983 to May 8th of 1992 on NBC, and then on ABC from November 5th, 1992 to May 7th of 1995. The show is similar, like the format of the show is similar to that of the CBS show Perry Mason. Both Matlock and the 1980s Perry Mason TV films were actually both created by Dean Hargrove, with Matlock identifying the perpetrators and then confronting them in the dramatic courtroom scenes. One difference, however, was that whereas Mason usually exculpated his clients at a pretrial hearing, Matt usually secured an acquittal at trial from the jury. Eventually, in 2024, which aka last year, a gender-flipping reboot starring Kathy Bates premiered on CBS on September 22nd. The OG Matlock show actually has some spin-offs, but obviously, we're not talking about those in this video. We're talking about the differences between the OG Matlock and the reboot with Kathy Bates. Although, cute little fun fact about the reboot of Matlock, it has my favorite actor Jason Ritter, who plays Dipper in Gravity Falls, and was in one of my favorite Jason Voorhees / Freddy Krueger movies, Freddy vs. Jason. I actually like Jason Ritter in that movie, but I just like Jason Ritter in general, you know? Hey Jason, you single? Alright, let's just start the video. When CBS announced the Matlock reboot, the classic 1986 to 95 legal drama starring renowned acting veteran Andy Griffith, most assumed that it would be a simple gender-swapped reboot of the show, hitting all the same notes. Yours truly even wrote an article surmising the same. Yeah, I'm reading a Collider article from Lloyd Farley, and apparently he wrote an article about this already, so just so you guys know, in case you wonder, oh, you actually did, whatever. I'm reading articles. Anyways, whatever. And for a majority of the premiere, it wasn't that far off, with Kathy Bates' Maddie Matlock, another folksy elderly lawyer with smarts and an eye for detail. Then came the last 5 minutes, and well, it became very clear that this wasn't Grandpa Simpson's Matlock at all. This Matlock had an edge to it, where, I lost my train of thought, and also I messed up on the words. So, this Matlock had an edge to it, or has an edge to it. A meta Matlock where Bates, follow along, is playing a retired lawyer, out to right a wrong by playing a lawyer based on the original Matlock lawyer, Ben Matlock. A show which exists in the 2024 TV series as itself, the OG series. That element is a notable divergence, but there are a number of big differences between the two beyond it. But before we get to the differences, it's important to point out the similarities. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw an article on Collider about The Pit, and it says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but please don't make the Pit doctors kiss. No, I agree. Don't do that to the Pit. I like the pit because it's accurate. Don't make the pit where they make out every 5 minutes. They're working 15 hours in the ER. They don't have time to slap cheeks. Sorry, I just really hate Grey's Anatomy. There. Cancel me all you want. Let's just keep going with the video. Bates' Madeline Kingston, a wealthy retired lawyer, bases her Matlock persona on the fictional character. So it would stand to reason that there would be features of Griffith's Matlock that Maddie uses for her own. The two share that folksy charm, a disarming trait that each uses to their advantage, but not in a way that feels malicious. Only for Ben, it's a natural part of his character, while for Maddie, it's an act, a means to an end, but one that she pulls off exceptionally well as Matlock. That said, there's an innocent charm in the moments we see her interacting with her grandson and her husband as Kingston, Maddie and Edwin, Sam Anderson, making up after their big blowout in episode 4 is sweet and, yes, charming. Their legal strengths are another asset they share. Both are savvy, picking up on things that others have missed. Ben's is more fact-based, finding overlooked evidence at a crime scene, for example, while Maddie is more intuitive, based on observation and emotion. Her call to push her client to revisit the pain of losing their child in episode 6 is the right one, despite how heartbreaking it is to watch. Episode 3, meanwhile, gives Maddie an opportunity to try a case in court, and it's here that we see the most striking similarity between the two Matlocks. Ben, as he does in the season 1 episode The Judge, masterfully guides a witness into confessing their guilt, proving his client innocent of murder, and it's something we see him do time after time. We've only really seen Maddie in action in the aforementioned episode, but similarly, she artfully leads Jeremy, played by Chad Cho, an employer being sued by Alex, played by Danielle Laracunte, for wrongful termination after into confessing to a previous conviction of assault, setting the path for Alex's victory in the court. Another commonality? Well, they're both old. Another disarming angle that lowers expectations to others, to their peril. It grants them a freedom not afforded to the young, a means to draw out arguments in court, to gain access to the things they need, and an inherent presumption of trust. It's how Maddie was able to make her way into the offices of the law firm in the premiere. A funny sequence of events that includes bypassing security, being let in despite not having a security pass handy, because what harm could there possibly be in letting an old innocent lady into the building? Age also happens to be one of the differences between the two Matlock series, though. For Ben Matlock, his age is largely only recognized by himself. Others acknowledge it, but it's a badge of honor, a defense attorney with years of experience, and a high level of respect from those within and without the system. But for Maddie, her age only garners some, if any, respect, and is seen as a disadvantage. She too has years of experience and knowledge, perhaps as much as Ben, but unlike him, she's not an asset that is seen as valuable to the firm. If she wants to join Jacobson Moore, she has to start at the bottom. The need to prove herself is a twofold. Practically, the higher she works up the chain, the easier it is to access the things she needs for her secretive goal. And personally, it feeds her pride, knowing that she still has it. But the fact that her age puts her in a place where she needs to prove herself, as opposed to Ben, who doesn't need to prove a damn thing, is a less than subtle jab at our ageist society. At the same time, it's a commentary on sexism. The most painfully obvious differences between the two Matlocks is their gender and how each series approaches it. Age and experience aren't the only things that Ben brings into the courtroom. Being a male, especially in the 80s, gave much more credibility to Ben as an attorney, only with his name on the door of the firm. But in the Matlock reboot, Maddie and Olympia, played by Sky P. Marshall, are each proving themselves as women who belong and can excel in a male-dominated field. I don't believe it's a coincidence that Beau Bridges Sr. is the head of the firm, like Ben is the head of his own, especially when Maddie has the experience and the money to open her own firm, putting her purpose for joining Jacobson Moore aside. But with all that out of the way, what are the biggest differences between the 80s show and the reboot show? Well, Maddie's mission to expose who in the firm hid evidence that could have saved her daughter's life opens up what is the biggest difference between the two series. What happens outside the courtroom? You see, 1986 Matlock is a case of the week legal drama. Each episode is self-contained, like a self-contained storyline that rarely bleeds into anything before or after it. We learn about Ben's life outside the courtroom in bits and pieces, and those things are largely surface level. He's thrifty, he likes gray suits, he drives a Ford Crown Victoria, and he loves hot dogs. But in the reboot, we are privy to Maddie's life outside. We know from the start why she's undertaken the subterfuge she has, and adds an emotional depth that is largely absent from her predecessor. Each episode, we learn a little bit more, allowing us to really understand and feel the torment that Maddie has to hide every day she's in public as Matlock. No offense to Mr. Griffith, but Kathy Bates is tasked with a Matlock overwhelmed with conflicting emotions, and a purpose that goes beyond the courtroom. Ben gets the case, works the case, wins the case, and is done. But it's not even just Maddie we're invested in. The reboot gives us insight into the supporting cast as well. The complicated relationship between Olympia and Julian, played by Jason Ritter. Hi, Jason Ritter. We also look into the lives of Billy, played by David Del Rio, and Sarah, played by Leah Lewis, the first 2-year associates in the firm, and their playful banter. We also deal with Edwin and Alfie, Maddie's grandson, and the deaths they go to support and aid Maddie the best they can. Matlock 1983 too has a supporting cast we know about, like Charlene, played by Linda Pearl, Ben's younger daughter. The difference is that, like Ben himself, most of what we know about the supporting cast of Matlock in 1986 is skin deep. There are other differences. Maddie doesn't have the same affection for hot dogs, for example, and her limousine is certainly a step up from Ben Ford's Crown Victoria. But here's an interestingly similarity between the two Matlocks. Kathy Bates shares a screen with Beau Bridges. Do you know who else shared a screen with Beau Bridges? Andy Griffith, who starred in 1975's Hearts of the West with Beau's brother, Jeff Bridges, ironically connecting the two series with literal bridges. Now, if only Ron Howard would direct an episode of the reboot. And that's everything. Now that I've finished wrapping up this video, it makes me want to make the videos about Matlock and the OG Matlock and its, spin-offs. There's only 2, so that's doable for me. Take with that what you will. But thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn the bell for post notifications so you'll be notified for all my videos. I'm still working on the I Dream of Jeannie video. My procrastination got so bad this week. Oh my god. Because, I completely forgot to record audio for the plot. I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at this sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But rest assured, I will still be filming videos in between working on the I Dream of Jeannie video. For example, the next video will be about Johnny Quest and why it was canceled after just 1 season. I didn't even realize it was 1 season. I watched this show's reruns when I was a kid, and I was like, man, what a good show. But we're gonna find out in the next video why it got canceled, so. Oh, and we're also gonna talk about Special Delivery, a Nickelodeon anthology series that kind of reminds me of MTV. I have to connect things sometimes to the things I love. And then after that video, we'll be deciding on who was better for Sookie, Eric or Bill. And in my opinion, because again, season 5 over here. Hello, yes, me, season 5. Eric. I don't care if Ann Paquin and Stephen Moyer are married in real life. Okay, I'm still not gonna pick them just cause.